What's good, y'all? It's Riverside. In this video, I'll be letting y'all know where I'm going to college next year and also why I eliminated some of the other choices I got. Now, before I start, I just want to let y'all know that I have a computer over here to look at some of the pros and cons I wrote down for each college, so if I keep looking over there, that's why. Alright, let's get into it. So, yes, I applied to 55 colleges, and if you watched my college decision reaction video, I'll link it down in the description below. You know that the breakdown of that is 17 research universities, 5 liberal arts colleges, 7 UC schools or University of California schools because I'm from California, and 26 BSMD programs, and these are programs that save you a spot in medical school after undergrad. Now, out of all the 55 schools I applied to, here are all my acceptances and wait lists. So before I talk about the acceptances, let's look at the wait list. I got waitlisted a couple of schools. I'm not really waiting on any of them. The final decision I made is one that I'm pretty content with, and I don't think I'll be switching over to a waitlist school if I get into it anyway, so that's that. I'll break down each individual waitlist school in another video later. Now, out of all the schools that I got accepted to, most of them are just undergraduate institutions of the BSMD programs that I applied to. So these aren't schools that I really wanted to go to. I only applied here and I only would have gone if I got into the BSMD program. And if you watch my college decision reaction video, you know that I didn't get into any BSMD programs, and that's that. So those are the first schools off my list. The only exception to that rule was Tulane University. I actually applied to Tulane without knowing there was a BSMD program, and I applied because I really actually genuinely liked the school. And later I found out there's a BSMD program, then I was going to apply to it, but unfortunately I didn't qualify, so that's all good. Now, let's get rid of all the excess schools and only look at the schools that I'm actually genuinely considering, and here they are. So, let's go down the list and see which ones I eliminated and where I ended up. So, the first school that went off my list was Reed College. Reed College is a super humanities education-based school. They are a liberal arts college, so they care more about education than like getting grades or stuff like that. They're really humanities focused school, and therefore I only applied here because it sends you a free copy of a book if you get in, like a classical book, and I really wanted a free book, so I applied. There was no application fee, and it was a safety school, so I knew I would probably get in, and I applied. I got in, got the book. That's that, and therefore it's the first one off my list. I wasn't really intending on going here, just applied for the free book. Alright, so the next one that went off my list is Lehigh University. So Lehigh University, I only applied to the school because they sent me a fee waiver and I didn't really know anything about it, and after I got my financial aid package too, it was my most expensive option, so all the cons to it, well, not really cons, just me not knowing, and also the price, that was the only con. It wasn't really a school that I wanted to go to or I could go to, so it's off my list, and I didn't really know much about it for pre-med anyway, so off my list. Alright, next one. So the next one is ASU, or Arizona State University. This was pretty much my solid safety school for a large part of the college application process. I got in pretty early, and I applied here because one of my friends goes here, and she's actually in the honors college here, and I also applied to the honors college. I got in, and therefore it was pretty high, not really high on my list, but it was a pretty solid option on my list until I got my financial aid package, and just it wasn't enough to justify me giving up some of my other schools to go here, so that's why it was off my list. Next one off my list was also another safety school, and that was UC Riverside, or University of California, Riverside. It's another UC school, and just to give you a little context, in general, I didn't really want to go to a UC school. They're really big. I wanted to go to a smaller school than a UC, and also they're pretty GPA deflated for pre-med, and because I'm pre-med, my GPA matters a lot. So I didn't really want to go to a school that was that GPA deflated, and I'll explain GPA deflation in a separate video if any of y'all are wondering. Now, the next school to go off was also another UC, and that was UC Santa Barbara. So UC Santa Barbara isn't that great for pre-med. They don't have a medical school. It's definitely a great school, it's just not that great for pre-med compared to my other options. And also, it's a bit of a party school, and I'm not really that into partying and going out, so that's why it was pretty much off my list. Next one. Okay, so at this point, these are schools that I was actually serious about and had to start eliminating to make my decision. Next one off my list, this one, I really didn't want to take off, but I had to take off just because can only choose one school. It was Case Western Reserve University. So Case Western is a school that I really liked. It was low-key like my dream target school throughout most of the college application process. It's connected to the Cleveland Clinic, so lots of opportunities there. The Cleveland Clinic is like the #2 hospital in the United States, so it was definitely a great school that I really wanted to go to, but the financial aid wasn't great at all, and just wasn't a school that was feasible for me to go to, and just wasn't a school that was worth going to and paying that much money. The next school off my list, this one really broke my heart. It was a school that I really liked, and it was University of Rochester. So University of Rochester has something called an open curriculum. So there's no general education requirements. Well, I mean there are, but they're a lot more relaxed than most schools out there. And they're a really good pre-med school. They have something called an early assurance program too, where you apply to their medical school at the end of your second year, and you can get in or you can get rejected. But it just would have been nice to have that option. But unfortunately, the finances didn't work out, and I just couldn't go there, and that kind of sucked. But yeah, that one really hurt. I actually really like the school. I talked to their admission counselor too. She was a great person, and she really helped me throughout the college application process when I was applying to Rochester and everything. Just couldn't go there. Alright, moving on. Next school off of my list was UC Davis. So UC Davis was the UC school I probably would have gone to if I had to go to UC school out of the ones that I got accepted to. It was really inexpensive. Well, it's not inexpensive. It's just cheaper than my other options. Because I am an in-state resident for California, so it was cheaper than my other options. And the thing is, it's just a UC. Like I said, my whole reservations at UCs, they're pretty GPA deflated. They're really big schools. I just didn't want to go to UC, and there were other options that I could have chosen over UC Davis, so that's why I ended up taking off UC Davis. The next school I took off was actually a school I didn't really know anything about when I applied. I only applied to this school because one, they gave me a fee waiver, and two, one of my friends applied here. He didn't go to Carleton, but he applied here and he got in. So I thought there must be some reason he applied. So I applied here, and then I started researching a little bit more into it, and I really liked it. And that school is Carleton College. So Carleton College, it's a liberal arts college. Nothing wrong with liberal arts colleges. Some of them are really great at pre-med, like Williams, Amherst, Pomona colleges are really great schools for pre-med. But it wasn't a school that I saw myself going to compared to my other options. It was actually my cheapest option as well, so that was something that was pretty enticing, but just couldn't end up going there. It was really far away in Minnesota. Just a lot of factors. It just wasn't the school for me, and I just didn't vibe with the school that much. Alright, so now we're down to the last two schools. This is a hard decision. This is a really difficult decision, mostly because these two schools are very similar and very different at the same time. So the two schools are, as you can see, Tulane and USC. So these two schools, one's in New Orleans, one's 20 minutes away from me in LA. Well, not 20 minutes, 20 miles away, sorry. 20 miles away from me in LA. This is a hard decision to make. So let me just tell you a little bit about each school. Tulane University, really great pre-med school, lots of pre-med opportunities. I also got a lot of scholarships. It wasn't my cheapest option, but it was cheaper than USC. It's just because I got those scholarships, there was a lot of support for me. I would have been, that whole like big fish, small pond kind of thing. I'll explain that a little bit more for all the people that are applying to college in the future, what that analogy is, but you can probably kind of guess. But I would have been a big fish in a small pond there. Unfortunately, it was far away. That's kind of one of the biggest cons for me. It was far away. Even though it was cheaper than USC, my parents are the type of parents that kind of want to visit me a lot, so the travel expenses would have added up because I have two younger brothers too. So it would have been equal to USC. Those are pretty much the pros and cons of Tulane. Now let's move over to the pros and cons of USC. USC is really close. It's like 20 miles away from me. So, and because it is more expensive than Tulane, the only way I would have been able to afford it is if I commuted. So I would have to drive from home to USC every single day. It wouldn't have been the college experience I wanted, like staying in a dorm, meeting friends, all that kind of stuff. But that was like one of the biggest cons. It's still a really great pre-med school though. It's a little bit more GPA deflated than Tulane as far as I've heard. But other than that, there's lots of opportunities. There's great pre-med opportunities there, like some of the nearby hospitals. They have the LAC, USC, Los Angeles County, and USC. They have a hospital too, the Children's Hospital of Los Angeles. Lots of opportunities, lots of volunteering opportunities. It's in LA, so let's compare the cities now. So New Orleans, Louisiana, and Los Angeles, California, very similar in terms of diversity and culture. Obviously the cultures are different, but it's still very diverse. It's like they have rich cultures. So the city wasn't that big of a deal. I definitely liked New Orleans when I was researching it. NOLA was great, but yeah, those are pretty much the breakdowns of each school. Now, time for the big reveal. This is a really hard decision to make. The finances were pretty much equal. The schools were pretty much equal. Ranking wise, I mean, it's not a big deal, but like Tulane was lower than USC, so USC was higher ranked. But I'm pretty sure next year, with the how competitive college applications got this year, I'm pretty sure Tulane's gonna go up the list for rankings anyway, so it'd been fine. But anyway, my final decision is USC. So I'll be going to USC next fall. I'll be majoring in human biology on the pre-medical track. I don't know what else to say. It's a really great school. I'm happy I'm going here. Just wasn't the way I expected my college application decision to go, mostly because I kind of wanted to get out of California, go explore, go to school in another state, which is why Tulane was such a big decision to make between Tulane and USC. But in the end, finances, also being close to home isn't that big of a deal. USC is it's 20 miles away, so it's not like right next to my house, but it's not that big of a deal. I'll get to explore LA a little bit more, I guess, throughout college, and that's pretty much it. Alright, so that's my college decision. Like I said in my college decision reaction video, this is part of a 5-part series that I'm making. This is part 2. Part 1 was my college decision reactions. You can check that out in the link in the description below. Part 3 are going to be my stats and extracurriculars for anyone that's interested. Part 4 is going to be a breakdown of my college list, why I applied to each school I applied to, and any tips for y'all if you're interested in making your college list for pre-med or BSMD programs. Part 5 is going to be my entire college application journey and kind of like a timeline, so stay tuned for that. That's it for this video. Thumbs if you liked it, subs if you loved it. I'll see y'all later.